Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. We are from Second Language Acquisition A2, Group 3 that consists of me, Karina Estiani Agustin, Rukmalita Adi Chandra, Rukmamaya Adi Chandra, and Tania Angelina. In this video, we'll be explaining about environment or social influence in second language acquisition. Second language acquisition is the process by which people learn a second language. So there will be three types of social structures which can affect the acquisition of second languages. There are social linguistic setting, specific social factors, and situational factors. First, social linguistic setting, that is language. Several factors related to students' first and second languages shape their second language learning. These factors include the linguistic distance between the two languages, students' level of proficiency in the native language and their knowledge of the second language, the dialect of the native language spoken by students, the relative status of students' language in the community, and societal attitudes towards the students' native language. First, native language proficiency. The student's level of proficiency in the native language, including not only oral language and literacy, but also metalinguistic development, training in formal and academic features of language use, and knowledge of rhetorical patterns and variations in genre and style, affects acquisition of a second language. The more academically sophisticated the student's native language knowledge and abilities, the easier it will be for the students to learn a second language. Next, knowledge of the second language. Students' prior knowledge of the second language is of course a significant factor in their current learning. The extent and type of prior knowledge is an essential consideration in planning instruction. For example, a student with informal conversational English skill may have little understanding of English grammatical systems and may need specific instruction in English grammar. Next, dialect and register. Learners may need to learn a dialect and a formal register in school that are different from those they encounter in their daily lives. This involves acquiring speech patterns that may differ significantly from those they are familiar with and value as members of a particular social group or speech community. Next will be explained by Maya.
Alright, then for the next is about language attitudes. The language attitudes in the learner, the peer group, the school, the neighborhood, and then the society at large can have an enormous effect on the second language learning process, both positive and negative. It is vital that teachers and students examine and understand these attitudes. In particular, they need to understand that learning a second language doesn't mean giving up one's first language or dialect. Rather, it involves adding a new language or dialect to one's repertoire.
So here we're gonna talking about the situational factors. So for the first one is the from a learner itself. We know that every students come from diverse background, and because of that, they also have different factors, such as factors in learning language as a second language, like a peer pressure and the presence of a role model and the level of home support. And the second one is the from learner goals. In the learner goals, they will determine how they use in the language being learned and how much the energy they will expend to understand, to comprehend messages in the target language they will learn as a second language. So for the next one is the peer groups. So in the second language learning, peer pressure often determine undermine the goals set by parents, set by teacher, and then also peer pressure often reduce the desires of the students to work toward the native process. But for a learner of English as a second language, speaking like a native speaker may unconsciously be decided because they just a second language. So for the last one is the role model. So as a learner learning English for a second language, they need have positive and realistic role model who demonstrate the value of being proficient.
Okay, my name is Rukmalita Chandra. So now I will continue the explanation about the situational factors. So for the next situational factors is home support. Support from home is very important for successful second language learning. And some educators believe that parents of English language learners should speak only English in the home. However, far more important than speaking English is that parents value both the native language and English. So communicate with their children in whichever language is most comfortable and show support for and interest in their children's progress. And then we take a look about the learning process. So when we think of second language development as a learning process, we need to remember that different students have different learning styles, that intrinsic motivation aids learning, and that the quality of classroom interaction matters a great deal. For the next is about motivation and language aptitude. According to Daisy and Ryan, intrinsic motivation is related to basic human needs for competence, autonomy, and relatedness. Intrinsically motivated activities are those that the learner engaged in for their own sake because of their value, interest, and challenge. Such activities present the best possible opportunities for learning. For the last one is about learner attitudes. Learners manifest different attitudes towards. For the first is the target language, and for the second one is the target language speakers, and then for the third one is the target language culture, and then for the fourth one the social value of learning the L2, the fifth one particular use of the target language, and then for the last one themselves as members of their own culture. So in general, positive attitudes toward the L2, its speakers and its culture can enhance learning, which can in turn be influenced by this success. Negative attitudes can impede learning. However, if learners have a strong reason for learning, negative attitude can have a positive effect. Learners may have conflicting attitudes, and learners might want to learn the L2 as a way of assimilating into the majority culture. But at the same time, they may wish to keep their L1 as a means of maintaining their L1 identity. Okay, so now we are going to the third topics. The third topic is related about the social factors in second language acquisition, and then the third topic is about specific social factors. At second language acquisition include age, gender, social class, and ethnic identity. First of all, we will discuss about age first, and then generally learners who learn an L2 or second language after puberty or possibility earlier are unlikely to acquire a native speaker accent, while those who begin after 15 years are less likely to develop full grammatical ability, and children are more ready to share external norms as they haven't formed stereotypes of their identity. And older kids, or we can say with adolescents, take learning and second language as threat to their identity. And then the second, for the specific social factors, we are discussing about gender. And then There are two apparently contradictory principles noticed by sociolinguists. And the first, instable sociolinguistic stratification. Men use a higher frequency of non-standard forms than women. And the second, in the majority of linguistic changes, women use a higher frequency of the incoming forms than men. So we can say that women may be better language learners. They are more sensitive to the new linguistic forms and are more ready to incorporate them into their speech. Then females have more positive attitudes to learning a second language than males. In conclusion, the reasons that females hold a more positive attitude seems to have been widely agreed. And then male and female culture differences are also possible explanations. Females are more cooperative and more delicate in dealing with relationship, while males emphasize more maintaining their hierarchical relationship. So the last but not least, we talk about social class. An individual social class is a composite determined by income, level of education, and occupation. Usually, it is divided into four groups like lower class, working class, lower middle class, and upper middle class. And there's a relationship between social class and second language achievement. Most of the studies show that children from lower socioeconomic groups are less successful in second language learning than children from higher groups. It should be borne in the mind that is not socioeconomic class that produces these effects, but rather the experience of the world which the different social class are likely to have.
Alright, that is all from our presentation. We hope that the information that we share will be beneficial and you guys will understand the material. Thank you.